So, as we get ready to embrace the tariff situation that's coming in, I want to remind people that during Trump's first term, he did something similar with the soybean market, which I don't think a lot of farmers who did soybean farming have recovered from. That's a market's destroyed. But for those that still aren't aware of what tariffs are going to do, as you know, everything is going around about that now, just talking about how bad this is going to be. It's going to destroy relationships. Somebody said they not said, but they cited a statistic that showed that we do about $436 billion with Canada yearly. And I don't think people understand, as with what happened with the soybean market, countries that bring these goods in, that we do business with, or that export to us and make money, they're going to find other countries to make up that gap. Other countries like Canada, they're going to find a way to keep that money flowing. They're not letting that just sit on the table. Trump is a bad businessman in that respect. He does not understand that we're not the only customer. Like, even if Canada has to rely on 5 other countries to make that money, they're going to. And Canada produces stuff, unlike the United States. The United States doesn't produce near enough of its own stuff. We really don't have a lot of raw resources here. We do not produce much here. Like, a lot of people still aren't getting the fact that a lot of our gas we get from Canada. Like, we import it. We're not producing our own. We haven't produced our own. This fantasy that so many people have that we're sitting on these huge oil deposits that we're just refining and turning into gas, it's not happening. And when it comes to what we do export, again, we export that. We're not producing gas for our own here, and we don't. Those refineries don't do that. Like, I've discussed this with numerous people who are convinced that we're just producing all this stuff. We don't. We really don't make any of our own stuff here. We're about to learn, that we do need other countries, because there's a lot of stuff we cannot produce here. Metals, we don't refine a lot of metals anymore. We get a lot of our steel and aluminum from Canada. We get a lot of food and other items from Mexico. NAFTA was very important, and there's so many people that want it gone, have wanted it gone, but don't understand even what NAFTA means. They can't even name the acronym for it. They have no idea what it means. If you know, throw it down in the comments below, but it's like they just don't understand what that was for and why it was so good for us. I'm hoping that out of this, a lot of people will understand what that means. As far as Canadians, if you're Canadian, you're watching this, please don't be mad at any of your leaders for what's going on, for the tariffs that they're putting in. You should be proud of them for standing up to the United States, because the United States has decided it can just bully other countries and has been doing that for decades. It's not new, but it is high time that a lot of these other countries stood up to the United States and showed the U.S. its place in the world, which is not a very high place anymore. We don't produce anything. We're not making anything. We're not a particular note. We consume a lot of goods, and we should have been fine with that. We had a really good deal. And Trump isn't asking for better or more. He's asserting this idea that somehow we're just great, so just give us stuff. And that's not how it works. So this is one of those things that needs to happen, where, we are shown that we just don't produce anything. Hopefully a lot of the people who don't understand economics in the United States really start to get it. But again, for the people of Mexico and Canada, just to loop this in here, please be proud of your countries and what they're doing, because they're at least taking a stand this time around where they have not prior. And it's scary. It's dangerous. The United States is irrational, but this needs to happen. So I hope that out of this, it does make things worse, and that the United States has to earn its place back in world economics. But at this point, the United States has shown, this concludes all of our political leaders here, all of them, not just president. Any one of our congressional leaders could have done something about this, both in his first term, this second term, and in between. They could have done something to prevent this from happening, and they did nothing. So they had at least 8 years, and I'm being generous with that, at least 8 years to do something about this, and did nothing. And what they've shown is that the United States is not grown up enough to participate in the world. They're just not. And for all those that are saying, well, we have to do this to stop this, we've handed China dominance on a lot of things at this point. They'll probably end up taking Taiwan. So everything going forward here is a result of 8 years of incompetence with congressional leaders and 2 terms of Trump. I'm not going to blame Biden heavily in this. Like, he probably could have urged them to do something more, but really this falls on Congress, on the people that have a lot of legislative action they could have taken and did not. So anyways, guys, it's going to be an interesting week next week. Looks like Canada's stuff starting on Tuesday. And I think Mexico stuff starting on Monday. I may be wrong on that, but I think it's starting Monday. But next week is going to mark stuff getting more expensive. There's going to be kind of a delayed portion to that because we have current stock. Obviously, it's not up, but don't be surprised if companies, especially places like Walmart, just start prematurely raising prices and jacking up to get ahead of this. So if you guys thought eggs and gas were bad before, well, it's going to get real fun now. So I'll have to keep an eye on what things are looking at and maybe get a video out, although there's tons of people tracking that. So anyways, guys, leave your comments below, and yeah, it's going to be a fun week coming up.